But you guys did really good. And how long did it take you to learn silk? have very different and distinct backgrounds. We all have different disciplines and training that we've gone through. Some of us, multiple training. We can just kind of quickly go down the row here. I started in ballet modern dance when I was a little kid, 4 or 5.
You started at Ator Theater, that's where you started.
Mr. Ball was my teacher.
Okay, Mr. Ball.
Wow. Mr. Ball was my teacher, and now we work on shows together, so look forward to that in the future. But I have a modern dance and ballet background. I started aerial when I was 13. I'm old, it was a long time ago. Colleen.
Hi, my name is Colleen Walls. Back in my studio, I'm known as Lashi Walls, which means teacher in Chinese. I'm a 2nd degree black belt in Kung Fu, and I'm also a grand champion in Tai Chi as of last year. And I've been training Kung Fu and Tai Chi for about 7 years now. My background is originally dance, but tried Kung Fu out to see if I would like it. I was afraid I was going to get punched in the face, which I did, and I went training.
Yeah, so I don't have a dance background. I did kind of dance adjacent things in high school. So I did color guard for 2 years before doing orchestra and then the percussion pit in marching band. But so I kind of came to aerial with like a fresh slate, learning how to be graceful. So I started taking classes in Flagstaff in 2018.
So I have 0 dance background. I was my first movement was really in rock climbing. I was a pretty serious rock climber for about 10 years and learned to move gracefully on the wall and be high up and become really comfortable with heights, and was always really intrigued by aerial. And we recently got a studio in Flagstaff, and so I've been taking classes there for about 4 years.
Hi, I'm Grace. I started with ballet when I was about 5, because my mother insisted, but I kept up with it through high school, and then when I started in college, I was like, never again will I ever do ballet. So I started dancing Indian bongo, which is like the exact opposite. And then I started Latin dance, and then I started climbing, and then I ended up in Flagstaff, and I've been doing aerial for about 3 years.
My name is Evan. Stage name is E.T. or E.T. Flow Home. Get it? Yeah. I am not an aerialist, if that wasn't clear. I kind of just like throw these things around. This is called poi. It's a flow art. I am a flow artist. I've been doing this for, I guess, about 4.5, maybe going on 5 years now. And I think maybe the underlying point of my little platform here, I started this when I was 30 years old. Do not have a background in dance, do not have a background in gymnastics. I was an athlete most of my life growing up, so that's where I was able to, I don't know, I guess figure out how to move. Not necessarily gracefully, but how do I escape people?
Yes.
So yeah, now it's like drawing my name on the floor. Yeah, that's about it for me. And I do teach this up in Flagstaff as well, a couple classes. So if you'd like more info on that, please come and talk to me. Let's have the momentum here.
I'm Sunn. I also don't really have a dance background. My background is sports and yoga. I got into acro yoga about 8 years ago, and that was kind of like my gateway to seeing aerial and all that stuff. I moved to Flagstaff about 6 years ago, and then I've been doing aerial for about 5 years now and teaching for about 3. So I also teach a momentum aerial.
We have another question.
What are the steps you guys took to get here?
That's a great question. I met most of these folks here at Momentum Aerial, where we were training together. some of them are instructors, so again, you can learn how to do this stuff if you're interested. I basically decided I wanted to dance, started a dance company, and asked all my friends to come hang out with me in the air or on the ground. Yeah. So most of us met in class, and it took a lot of rehearsals, a lot of practice, a lot of hours to train for this specific show, but all of us have put in years of training in our disciplines, the various disciplines, before getting to this moment. A lot of it is conditioning, like some of the stuff that may not be as fun, but is very helpful. Doing like cross training, like yoga helps with stretching, or some weight training exercises. There's a lot of stuff that we do to prepare to actually perform. And then some of us, like Colleen, teach character and theater acting. So some of us are working on our performing skills too.
Fun fact, I was actually testing for my 2nd degree black belt while rehearsing for this show.
Wow. Yeah. I hope that answers your question a little bit. Back here?
How do you get involved?
How do you get
Good
involved?
job, Max.
What do you want to do?
I do this stuff. I want to get involved.
Okay, fabulous. Well, do it. That's a great question. So we are hoping with our dance company here and with Old Town Center for the Arts, where we are right now, and hopefully working with James a bit to collaborate. We're hoping to bring more aerial dance to Cottonwood, as well as other movement arts. We can't forget our ground arts as well. Very important. And so we're hoping to bring this to you guys. If you're interested in being involved in the show, you can either volunteer to do tech stuff and work with, where are our tech people, by the way? Come say hi. Come say hello.
Yeah, there you go.
Come on. But you can work with these wonderful They're a little shy. So our behind-the-scenes folks are a hugely important part of making a show come together. So as you guys have some theater experience, you might be familiar with how many people it takes to create a production. On this scale, it's a small theater, but we have a cast of 10 and a tech crew of 9, I believe. So it's a big production. There's a lot of stuff involved. So if you want to get involved, there's always things that you can do. And we might be able to provide some mentorship if anyone is interested in studying with us. It would be a great opportunity. Right over here.
Is there anywhere in Cottonwood that we can get involved with this kind of stuff?
Right here. Right here. So we are going to be starting classes very soon. We're working on some of the finer details, but you will be able to learn from us right here in the building. Yes. What was your favorite act? My favorite act? My favorite act to watch or my favorite act to be in? Because my favorite.
Come on, Taylor. Don't upset anybody.
Maybe don't ask that question.
That's a loaded question.
You can't ask everything.
I think the most challenging, in a good way, the piece that made me feel the most like this is stretching me out of my comfort zone, that I enjoyed working with, was with Colleen doing everything that we did together. But you may remember that Colleen and I did Wings and Pipe Dreams and the Kung Fu aerial mashup with our friend Kristen here. So, but our Kung Fu piece was the most challenging for me because I do not do any Kung Fu. It was probably apparent, but working on fight scenes, working on some really dynamic movements, and integrating different forms of movement, like having aerial soaks going on at the same time as Kung Fu. That was a fun challenge to participate in. I love watching Grace's lyra piece because of her gracefulness. Very beautiful. Very stunning. Yeah, I really enjoyed working with Sunn doing a really unique entrance and some really primal movements and some very earthy, grounded, funky stuff. That was really fun. And I loved being part of the silk trio at the end there that you saw. That was a very long piece. So you may or may not be familiar with aerial dance, but hanging from the ceiling for more than a minute is very challenging. So 6.5 minute piece after doing 3 other pieces for me was kind of a challenge. I'll stop talking, but you know what? I had a really fun time doing everything. I think there's something beautiful and magical and interesting and weird and fun about each piece. I think every performer that's in the show, whether I just directly mention them or not, sorry, everybody has something incredible to bring as a team, and all of these little pieces that come together really make magic happen. And again, we couldn't do it without our crew either. So there's so much fun and interesting stuff. I feel like I hear our friends joining us.
Yeah. And the next act.
The acts are here, please.
The stage.
So I know, like, for lyra, I think there's different sizes, and how do you know which size to do, and like how to get started on lyra?
You sit in it, and you sit up tall, not normally small. And then you put one fist above your head, and that fist should come right underneath the top of the lyra.
Okay.
So if you're in a perched position, that's exactly right. So there's lots of different sizes. There's also different coatings for lyra. You can have a bare hoop, that's just the metal. You can have a taped lyra, like Mackenzie used over here, so that allows for some extra grip, which some people prefer. And you can also have a powder coat lyra, which Grace used on her side over there. If you want to touch them, I think it's fine. Can you touch things? If you want to touch them, they're heavier than you think they're going to be, but they do come in different sizes. Silks are actually very similar. They have different textures, and they're generally made out of the same kind of fabric, but there's different stretchiness. So they're really bouncy, or they're really like stiff, or they're somewhere in between, and you just can kind of get a feel for what you like. Yeah.
Yeah, you taught me lyra for big fish. So.
Oh my gosh, hello. I can't see anybody over there.
That's
right. Oh my gosh. Okay, amazing. Right here.
I was curious, what are the similarities and differences between Kung Fu and Tai Chi? How do they go together?
That is an excellent question. So Kung Fu is more of your Yang style. Yang style means a lot harder. There's a lot of explosive movements. And your Southern Kung Fu is nice and low to the ground. Lots of horse dances in there. You're in there for about 5 minutes, and then your Northern Long Fist, lots of wheel arms. Tai Chi, on the other hand, is more of a healing art. It's a lot more slow and controlled. It focuses on front posture in Tai Chi. You can fight with Tai Chi. I prefer not to. I like the healing component of it, but it's kind of like a two-sided coin where it's the same Chinese martial art discipline. However, you have your fighting side and your healing side. Exactly. So you get to train tough, and then you get to check in on your body, going, okay, what do I need to work on? Yeah, great question.
I feel like this is a dumb question, but do you guys get lightheaded when you hang upside down or get dizzy when you guys
Yes.
spin around?
Yes. When the apartment's
Yes.
closed, it's like,
Literally, like the last time that we rehearsed this, because we did not have an audience, we finished the subs trio and just laid on the floor for a few minutes. Yes, you do get dizzy. There's things that you can do to help some people spot, especially if you have ballet training. Some people take Dramamine. I'm not recommending you taking drugs. But there's also just practicing. So very like common sense answer, but the more that you spin and the more you get used to it, the more that you hang upside down, your body can acclimate to that over time.
I will say when I first started silks, I would leave class and puke.
what?
Yes.
You kept doing it?
Yes.
And it gets better. Because
She kept going back, right?
and now I don't get nauseous at all.
That's not normal.
That's not
That might not happen for you.
You won't necessarily puke, it's just sometimes.
But you might.
But you might.
You have to be very careful about your timing with what time you eat, how much you eat, depending on when
Yes.
you plan to be on your apparatus.
And stay hydrated,
Yes.
drink a lot of water. Yes, good. Over here.
Okay, Mr. E.T., right?
Yeah,
Do you do that with fire?
I do. Thank you. I meant to say that, and then I got scared and forgot.
Yeah, this is all like when they let me, I do this on fire.
I've done it with the fire before.
You have?
Not with anything else, but I've done it with fire.
Just jump right into it.
If you want to see him spend E.T. Flow Home.
Yes. A lot of us have professional artist accounts on Instagram, so you can follow our dance stuff. We have E.T. Flow Home. I'm on there somewhere. I don't know. We have stuff you can see over here.
So like I did silks for a little while and then I kind of stopped because stuff. But like when I did it, like your pelvis like really hurts. Does it like still hurt, or does like over you practice more that just stops hurting? Or
Was it like when you were stretching, or was it when you were doing wraps around your hips, or?
when I was like doing wraps around my hips.
Okay. Yeah. So it gets
And that
better.
gets worse. You find new ways to hurt and be a pain.
It's the silk's hazing.
Yeah, so a lot of it does hurt at first, and you do get acclimated to it. So for example, if you learn something like a foot lock where you're tying your ankles or doing a bat hang like at the end of that piece, it's not really fun, it's a little painful, but you do develop a resilience to it. You will probably get some bruises or some burns. It kind of comes with the territory, but it does get much better. You get used to it over time.
This poor person has been raising their hand.
I am so sorry.
I have a question for Evan. What was the hardest part of your act?
Mr. E.T.
Sorry.
So, I'll be honest with you. So, right, like this is what I do is flow arts. So, as a flow artist, the whole concept of so I just want to say I kind of despise that like I am like the artist that flows, right? Like, all artists flow, whether it's guitar or aerial or dance or really whatever, like fixing a car. If you get in that right state of mind, right, like that flow state. So something that, coming back to your question now after that little preface, is my choreography is pretty minimal. Almost everything I do is off the cuff and improv, except for the beginning. The very beginning, that's typically what I work the most on. So that usually ends up being the most difficult part for me of, you know, like, how do I start this in a way that I haven't started an act 1,000 times before? And especially for, you know, an audience like yourself, you know, it's different between, you know, performing for a flow literate audience.
Oh my God.
For my flomies. You know, it's like, I do a lot of these starts for oh no, excuse me here, model audiences. But it's sort of like going between like 1 point, a 2 point, a 3 point, because a lot of times when you see this, a lot of times people don't know what it is. So I'll start out in a way that's kind of like makes it look like a step or like a rigid thing, and then at a second point, and then at a third one later. So just finding that sort of progression in line with the song, I think, is the most difficult part.
Okay.
So during some performances, like I know like some people had their hair like half up, half down. How do you keep it out of your face the entire time?
You don't. A lot of the finer details like that are pretty important to think about when you're thinking about your piece and your choreography. So, for example, Colleen had a lot of quick changes, and so I had her hair back. A lot of times when you're doing silks, your hair or whatever you're hanging upside down, it gets in your mouth and your eyes, and you swallow some of it. Try not to choke, and you just try not to show it on your face and just keep performing. But for safety and stuff, especially when you're first learning, I would recommend pulling your hair back out of your face so you can see everything that you're doing and get familiar with, you know, where your body is in space. But yeah, the short answer is it's everywhere. Can I add something? Yeah, please.
When you get comfortable with it, like I used to have like hair down to my butt basically, and when you're spinning, it kind of flows out, right? Then
Oh, great.
yeah, and it adds a line. So and like when you're upside down, it like makes it look like you're taller. And I'm kind of short, so I need that. And get like you have your hair down. Or, I guess a lot of us have chosen to have our hair up for the show, but
Yeah,
I've definitely performed with my hair down, and it's just like an extra thing you get to hang out with.
I prefer it for sure.
Yeah.
I like it a lot, and it's exactly right. You kind of get this like more like loose feeling because it's an extension of yourself. It's like an extension of your lines, and makes you feel taller and longer. But it's like if it's longer, sometimes it helps because you can whip it out of your face, like as part of the choreography, just hairography. But yeah, for us, a lot of the things that we had to do involved a lot of costume changes, and we wanted, for safety's sake and for time, to try to come up with things like backstage, like as far as like keeping the same makeup or, you know, whatever we're wearing, to try to like transition well. But yeah. We're here.
I've heard this type of music before, but like, what's the style like called? So I know.
The style. Was there a particular song that you enjoyed?
All of it.
Gosh, well, I don't know how to answer that question. We've had kind of a variety of music. I know.
Is the Spotify playlist you made public?
I think it is, and I'd be happy to share it with any of you. Yeah, so, I know.
So I'll go find it right now.
So I know at least I started by choosing all of the songs for the show at first, to try to give like a theme, like a vibe, I guess. Like I wanted a cohesive storyline that kind of made sense together, flowed really well, sounded good like a playlist if you just listen to it. And then when I shared it with the artists, everybody brought in their own ideas and their own style, and they made adaptations. And I think that allowing everybody to like communicate and create that together, it actually turned out even better than the original playlist that I had, because we have so many creative minds and voices behind it that really express their own individuality.
So you guys choreographed this?
Sorry?
So you guys choreographed this?
Yeah. Yes, so each of these artists choreographed the pieces that they did. Woo! Come on over here.
We were creeping backstage, you know.
Okay.
Oh, we heard.
That was yeah.
So I'll finish that really quick and then I'll introduce our friends here. So yes, the choreography that you saw was all original. So these artists that you see in front of you created those pieces from scratch, from nothing. We had a lot of collaborative efforts, like especially when we were working as a team and in groups. We workshopped a lot together, we watched each other, we made a lot of videos and then watched the videos, and all of the choreography that you saw was original. And plugging our next show, in March, in a couple months, we will have entirely live original music. So we will have our own live soundtrack and a band and an orchestra.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'll be invited to the... Yes, you're all invited to come back again for another dress rehearsal. I will get to your question in 1 second. These are our friends. This is Lilith, and this is Jeffrey. They are in the cast as well. And again, if you come to see us Friday, Saturday, you will get to see them creating some incredible stuff. Jeffrey does trapeze, and amongst other apparatuses, and Lilith does aerial straps and aerial chains. It's something. It's amazing. So we're very excited to have them joining us. I think I saw a question right here in the white sweater.
Oh,
hi. Sorry.
I was interested in that slinky costume thing. Who made that?
Oh,
Pipe Dreams one.
Yes.
That was awesome.
That piece was called Pipe Dreams, and it was originated by my mom, actually, who was a professional dancer with Alan Nicolai Dance Theater in New York. And her day, she was incredible as a performing artist and a costume designer. So she created the concept for that piece, all of the costumes, as well as for the wings piece with the 12-foot wings in the beginning. Sorry. And so those are like air ducts.
Dryer vents.
Dryer vents,
Yeah.
thank you. They are uncomfortable, they are hot, they don't breathe. And it's so much fun.
Totally awesome.
It's so much fun, yeah. So a lot of our pieces, those two especially, were originally created by my mom. And I kind of yeah. Okay, sorry, we're gonna do about two or maybe three more questions right here.
Okay. So what's the trio one? When you guys like fell down, like what was going on
Were you like scared or
I
did you just went with it?
I don't know if I should answer this one. I'm terrified of heights, actually. And I close my eyes. Anybody else?
Well, I actually messed up the drop, and I knew when I set it up, I was like, oh, this is wrong, and so then I decided not to do the drop, because I have dropped on stage in a performance before. And it's just not fun, really, to do, to watch, to like, so it's just better to just not do that. So usually when I'm falling, I am like confident that I know what I'm doing, and I know exactly how I'm gonna land, and it's like, you know, you get the gasp from the people because they think you're falling to the ground, but you're like, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, no, it's like supposed to be exciting. But ideally, you're not taking we call them drops. You're not taking a drop unless you really know what you're doing.
Those are some
Don't do
very
this at home at
advanced
all.
moves. Yeah, please.
You can really hurt yourself.
Yeah, even if you have the experience, it's still a chance you would hurt yourself. I ended up too low to do my drop, so I just got out of it instead. Because at a previous rehearsal, I did attempt the drop too low to the ground, and I whacked my toe really hard. Luckily not my head, but my toe is bruised. But I didn't want to do that in front of you guys. So it's always, you know, you have to be 100% certain before you let go.
Yeah, those are some really good points. Confidence is key. All of us have been doing this for years, but as I said, even years of training, sometimes accidents can happen. So we try to prepare for that. We know what the setup is. I would say, you know, always be a sponge for information and go learn some stuff, but please do not go home and attempt to learn this stuff from the internet. Just as a warning, as a disclaimer, these drops are challenging, and
Unless
we've
it's
had,
just not on fire.
yeah.
The internet can teach you this.
Okay, so the internet can teach you flow arts. We'll see evidence set of the internet, but yeah, so there's a lot of safety and preparation that goes into this. You'll see we have mats and larger mats too for any of those drops. You hope that you will never need a mat, ever, but it's still there for our protection. And Amy had something to that? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just in addition to that, it's not just the wraps, the way that you fall and articulate the drop in the air and the body positioning necessary is what makes it successful or not, and that is not something that you can just guess at. So I think that was the point I would add, like just knowing the wraps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't, it looks like a drop to the audience, like it's just a fall. It's not a fall, it's very controlled. You're engaging your entire body, sometimes at different places. You have to think about how many rotations you're doing, where you're gonna end up to. So your starting position, your setup is really important, and your ending position, and the entire way through. So you don't just let go and hope, oh, I hope this feels great. Yeah, there's a lot more preparation to that, and Lilith put that very well. There's a lot of like articulations through that make it successful. Thank you. Okay, these 2 questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Right here.
What was your guys' favorite costumes that you wore during this performance?
Wings. Wings, for sure.
I think my favorite is my Tai Chi one because it's so comfy. Pajamas.
I like the white dress and the spinning. That was the goal with that costume, although being upside down means I think I'm going to be pinning it to my shorts because that was up in my face too much, but that's what dress rehearsals are for. But I do like the gracefulness of the skirt when I'm spinning.
I'm pretty stoked on this current Amazon purchase. I'm planning on wearing it to many festivals and maybe just for fun, I don't know.
I don't want to borrow it.
Yeah.
I really liked the silver.
Black V-neck. I think the wings, those were super cool.
That was really
I wanted to get in those wings after seeing that.
They're heavy, by the way.
I know you guys didn't get to see it, but since I do chains, I get to wear Doc Martens and jeans. So that's great. It's necessary because it's chains. So yeah, but it's nice. It's the only apparatus I don't have to look nice.
And then switch.
I'm bored. This is my costume.
I do.
Classic black, all black, always Okay, and I think we had one last question over here.
What if like you want to do classes, but you don't know, like, but you don't have the finances to do it?
We will work with you on that. I would love to be able to provide some mentorship programs. I don't have anything in place right now today for you, but I would like to expand upon that. So we can talk about it. What our goal is, I think, other than being performers and sharing our art with you in this avenue, a show, is also sharing our craft in a safe and educational and super fun way. I think part of being an artist that's really fun is being able to show other people and build a community. So I would say, you know, in the reality of the world, finances have a part in that. You know, but we made a lot happen on a very, very minimal budget. And so I would like to try to develop some opportunities for those of you who want to experience this, because I think it's worth doing.
I just want to add, there is like a grant for everything.
Yes.
Like, look at grants for young, you know, up and coming artists and performers. There's a grant for everything.
I would also add to that, start conditioning as you're saving up to take these classes. Start looking at some strength training exercises, possibly some dance online videos. There's tons out there, yoga, Pilates, anything to strengthen your core and those stabilizing muscles.
Yeah,
especially upper body strength.
That's excellent. Yeah, you can start training for this right now. So while we recommend not learning dives and drops from the internet, there's a lot of free resources out there online about stretching and yoga. We actually have some yoga classes and some dance classes next door here on our property at Studio B. And we'll be having some more classes in this building that are area related. But yeah.
Or do every day of the Broadways, because that's 5 days of dance training for free. And summer showcases.
Okay. And what were y'all going to add? Sorry.
Which one?
Both of you. Somebody go.
I think I would just add that aerial, the limiting factors for most people starting aerial is upper body strength and grip strength. So you can find like a sturdy pull-up bar and just practice dead hangs and pull-ups and things like that. Like that contributes a lot because like the stamina and like endurance that you need to do entire acts in the air is built up over a long period of time.
There are like $15 pull-up bars at Walmart. I'm not saying shop at Walmart, ew, but like there are some options that are safe. There's one that like goes over your door. You can just use some free weights and like do some stuff. You can do some stretches at home, like lunges and stuff. For grip strength, you can also get those little squishy clamp thingies that provide some resistance, or you can get a fairly inexpensive like resistance band that stretches. Oh, did you hear that?
Go to the freaking playground. Go to the monkey bars. Like, revisit your childhood. It's free, and it's free. Ariel was safely. Yeah, it's so fun.
Jeffrey.
I was just going to say, even if you haven't been raised from a 5-year-old doing dance for decades, like Taylor, I think.
Hi.
It's still possible to start late in life, or start later, or start now. I started trapeze with no experience really in anything else. I had to wait in my car for an hour after to not puke. But eventually, so even if you don't have any prior experience in other related disciplines, it's still possible for you to do this. Just, you might have a bit of a learning curve.
And don't get psyched out or discouraged if it takes you a long time. A lot of us, even with like a ton of dance backgrounds, like still struggle to learn these moves. Part of that is the really fun part, is the challenge and seeing what your body is capable of doing. And you know, you might feel like you have some limitations, but over time your body, it grows and it changes and you can learn new things. But the challenge is just, that's the fun, it's just the fun of it. If you were perfect at everything right when you started, what would the point be? So, I mean, all of us have very different backgrounds, as we've talked about, which is something to celebrate. And it just shows that, you know, any of us could do this. Any of you could do this. If you work hard,
and you enjoy it, that's a really important part. If you enjoy it, do it. You just have to get out and do it.
Now go train!
You go work out. Thank you all so much. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Yeah.